So dear students, my synthesis series is going on and we have already known that, how can we add two or more than two simple sentences to make one simple sentence by using various methods, and we have done all those methods, and now we have started complex sentence. I have already uploaded a video on complex sentence where I told you that how complex sentence are formed and what are the essential things for complex sentence. So today we'll discuss more about complex sentences, and we will discuss also that how can we make complex sentences by using noun clause, adverb clause and adjective clause. So today we have taken noun clause first. So in complex sentence we have one principal clause and more than one subordinate clause, okay? And one principal clause, which is also called independent clause or main clause, it is there, it gives us the full meaning, complete meaning you can say, and then we add one subordinate clause which is depending on principal clause for its meaning, and these subordinate clauses can be noun clause, adjective clause and adverb clause. So these clauses take helps of subordinating conjunction. What we need to do that, we'll write principal clause first and then we'll write subordinating conjunction and then subordinate clause. You can write it in the beginning of a sentence or at the end of a sentence. So subordinate clauses can be put in the starting of a sentence or at the end of a sentence. Just remember that we use subordinating conjunctions to use subordinate clause to attach to the principal clause to give the full meaning, because principal clause always gives us complete meaning, but subordinate clauses always depends on principal clause for its meaning, okay, for their meaning. Now there are three subordinate clauses as we have discussed earlier. So today we are going to talk about noun clause first. What is a clause? You know it very well because I have already told you about clauses and so how these clauses work, So that is why you go to the description box first and find out the work of noun clause, adjective clause and adverb clause first. And then you watch this video, so it will be easy for you to understand the whole thing. So let's first understand about the noun clause. As we know that clause is a, part of a sentence or a sentence you can say, because it has subject and verb both. And as we know that in sentence also we have subject and verb, so in clause also we have subject and verb. The only differences is that there are two type of clauses. One is principal clause, other is subordinate clause. So principal clause gives us complete meaning. Subordinate clause, it doesn't give us complete meaning. It depends on principal clause for its meaning. Otherwise, everything is same. Both of them have subject and verb, and both of them, work to, add to the sentences and to give the complete meaning. Okay. So we were talking about noun clause. So first, let's know what is the work of a noun first and how does it work in a sentence. We know it very well that a noun can be a subject to a verb, it can be an object to a verb, it can be a complement to a verb, it can be an object to a preposition and phrase in a position. These are the 5 works of noun. We know it very well, and if you don't know, I would again request you to go and watch my video so that it become clear to you that how does a noun works in a sentence. So as we see that noun, it comes as a subject to a verb. It means that subject is doer of something. It means that it always sit in the beginning of a sentence. So there's a place reserved for noun. It always comes in the place of a subject. Likewise, a noun clause also sits in the same place doing the work of a noun to be a subject. Understand? जैसे कि noun clause, noun जो है वो sentence के शुरू में बैठता है, उसके लिए एक जगह स्थिर होती है कि या तो वो sentence में subject की जगह बैठेगा या object की जगह बैठेगा या और भी जो काम होते हैं वो करेगा. Same way एक noun clause भी उसी जगह बैठेगा जहां पर आपका एक नाउन बैठता है, क्योंकि क्लॉज क्या है, नाउन जो है वही क्लॉज है. द डिफरेंस इज दैट क्लॉज इज अ कलेक्शन ऑफ सम वर्ड्स and noun is only one word. This is the only basic differences between these two things. So पहले हम देखते हैं कि noun as a subject to a verb कैसे काम करता है. भाई अब किसी भी सेंटेंस में जब आप कोई सेंटेंस प्रिपेयर करेंगे तो आप सेंटेंस लिखेंगे तो आपका सबसे पहले नाउन आता है या प्रोनाउन आता है सब्जेक्ट की जगह पे. ओके तो जैसे मैंने कहा टॉम इज रीडिंग अ बुक. सो टॉम इज it has come in the place of a subject, Tom. Yeah, time and tide wait for none. If I say so, time is it has come in the place of subject. And then if I say that Mr. Srivastav, he is a teacher in a government school. So who is the subject? Mr. Srivastav is the subject. So noun always comes in the place of a subject and it has a place of its own at the beginning of a sentence. Same way, a clause also sits in the same place doing the same work as noun does. Okay, so let's see the sentence that how does so I have first of all I've written three works of noun: as a subject to a verb, as an object to a verb, as a complement to a verb. So first we will understand about these things and then there are two more works of noun that we'll do. So first let's understand subject to a verb. Noun, here it's working as a subject to a verb. Tom is a lawyer. First sentence is Tom is a lawyer. So we see that Tom is noun and Tom actually, let me come to this side so it become easy for you to see the board. So Tom is a lawyer. It means Tom is the subject to this verb is. Okay. Now first sentence I have taken as an entrance to a noun only. Okay, now let's see second sentence. Second sentence, it is it's a noun clause. It's doing the work of noun. That Tom is a lawyer is known to all. It's known by all or known to all. Both are both gives the right meaning. So here we see that in this sentence, that Tom is a lawyer. It's a group of some words doing the work of, noun clause. As we see that Tom is a lawyer, this Tom is a subject to this verb. Here again in the same sentence, we see that this whole part, it also doing the same work as the first part. Okay. So that Tom is a lawyer is known by all. So this clause is a subject to this verb is. Is it clear? And this clause is starting with a subordinating conjunction that. We'll talk more about conjunction once we finish this all. I'll tell you that there are so many conjunction, which are used in noun clauses. Okay. Now, object to a verb. How does noun sits in a place of object? Let's see. I love Tom. So here we see that Tom, this noun has come in the place of an object. Okay. Now, many students, they think that after verb, whatever words comes, it always works as an object. But this is not right. All the time it's not possible to be the object to be there. Actually, sometimes complements also comes. So an object is something that the action is acted upon. Whatever or whosoever receives that action is object. Okay. Suppose if I say I am teaching you. So who is receiving this action of teaching? You. You is the object of the sentence. Same way if I say I am playing football. So what is receiving the action of playing football? Okay. So this is action. So here we see that in this sentence, I love Tom. So Tom is receiving this action of love. Okay. So that is why it's called, an object. So in this sentence also we see that I admire that Tom understand my problem. So this is subject I, admire is verb. So after verb, this whole part, this is, noun clause. It has come in the place of object. So I admire that Tom understand my problem. So here, this is subordinating conjunction that, and this noun clause has started with, this subordinating conjunction that. I admire that Tom understand my problem. So here we see that this whole part is working as an object to this verb admire. Okay. Now let's move towards the third one. Object to a complement. So first, let's understand what is a complement. Just now I told you that after verb, it's always doesn't happen that object comes. Sometimes, complements also come. It has a place in it. So when does a complement come? Now, complements always follows the linking verb. A linking verb always connects subject with the, complement. Common linking verbs are to be form, is, am, are, was, were. Then we have been, has been, and then we have seem, appear, looks. These are all, linking verb. They always need a complement, to complete its meaning. When these, to be form of the verb and these others, has been, have been, or some, as I just told you that appear, look, seems, when they come alone in the sentence, they always needs an complement, they always need a complement to complete their meaning. Okay, now let's see that my favorite pastime is reading book. For example, if I say that Tom is a farmer, okay, so here we see that Tom is a farmer, is has come, it's working as a linking verb between Tom and farmer. And if I say Tom is, and then we don't add the verb farmer, so our sentence remains incomplete. So just to complete our sentence, we need to use, these, what should I say, these complement to complete the sentences. Okay. Now, see this example. My favorite pastime is reading books. My favorite pastime is reading books. So here we see that my favorite pastime, till here we have subject, and then we have this linking verb which is connecting, this linking verb is connecting the subject with this complement. So my favorite pastime is reading books. So this favorite pastime and reading book, these are the same, thing. Understand? I just told you that Tom is a lawyer. So if I say Tom is a lawyer, so Tom and lawyer both are same. So it's called subjective complement. When subject and complement are same, they are called subjective complement. As we see in this sentence, my favorite pastime is reading books. So reading books and favorite pastime both are same. So is this linking verb is connecting these two, things together. Same way, if we place a clause, as a complement in the sentence, it also does the same thing. The question is, my favorite pastime is, same way the question is, here we have only one sentence, word, that is reading books, but here we have the whole clause. The question is how he passed the exam. So how is, subordinating conjunction, and he passed the exam. As I told you that we have a subject, we have a verb to make a, this clause. So that is why we have seen that noun works in a three-way. First, it has become subject to a verb, then it is working like an object to a verb, and then it's working like a complement to a verb. Okay, so next two more, work of a noun, we'll see that, object to a preposition and case in opposition to a noun. It can be phrase in opposition also, okay, or noun in opposition, whatever you called it. Actually, noun in opposition, phrase in opposition is called case in opposition. Okay, so first let's talk about object to a preposition. Let's understand first the definition of preposition. Preposition always comes before noun and pronoun to show its relations to other words in the sentences. Okay, so first we know that preposition always comes before noun and pronoun. So here we see that I don't believe in marriage. So here we see in this sentence, this marriage is a noun, and this noun has come before this preposition in. So this noun has become object to this preposition. Okay, object to a preposition. To noun also, it has a fixed place after the preposition. Remember, noun, after the preposition, noun always comes there, or pronoun. So it is a fixed place of noun to be a object to a preposition. Okay, so I don't believe in is preposition, marriage is noun. So here in this sentence we see that noun has a fixed place after preposition. In the same way, this clause is also going to sit in the same place as the noun. Okay, I don't believe in, till here we have, this is principal clause. I don't believe, this is principal clause, and then we have this preposition, and after preposition we have this noun clause, what you say. So here we see that, we have this conjunction word and then subject, then verb. So three things are needed to be a clause. First you need a conjunction, appropriate conjunction, then you should have a subject and then verb. So here we see that in this sentence, this clause, noun clause, has come after this preposition to, to sit as a, to be a, it after the preposition it has come to become a noun clause or to work as a noun. Okay, now let's move to another word. Case in opposition to a noun. As I told you right now that it can be noun in opposition or phrase in opposition. First, let's understand the meaning of opposition. Opposition means, side by side, or to be placed, very near to someone. Now, let's understand what is a noun in opposition first. When one noun follows the another noun to describe it, the noun which follows, it's said to be in the opposition of the noun, which comes before it. So this is called phrase in opposition. As I say, if I say that Tom, our captain, has made 50 runs. So here in this sentence we see that Tom and our captain, both of them are the same person. Okay, so Tom, our captain. So our captain is an opposition to the subject Tom, and it can be separated by putting a comma, in between these two. Okay, so let's understand this subject that, so in this sentence we see Tom, the captain of the ship, instructed the crew to move ahead. This is the sentence. Let's understand it again. Tom, the captain of the ship. So here we see that this is the Tom. This is the noun about which we are talking, Tom. And this whole, the captain of the ship, this is phrase. Okay. So this part is called phrase because it has no verb. As I told you just now that, it can be phrase in opposition, noun in opposition. So in its place, a noun could also have been there. So if, Tom, the captain of the ship, as we see, sometimes after noun, some phrases comes to become a apposition, and sometimes some noun comes to become an apposition. So here in this sentence we see that after noun, a phrase has come to become an apposition. And Tom, the captain of the ship, both are the same person. Tom and captain of the ship, they are the same person. So that is why this part, this phrase is describing Tom, and it has come just after it, to be the apposition of Tom. So what we have done that after this noun Tom, we have put a comma, and after this phrase also we have put a comma. So in a position should be kept in a comma. Tom, the captain of the ship, instructed the crew to move ahead. This is a simple, a sentence showing the relation of the noun. And here in this sentence, we see next one, the news that Tom instructed the crew is true. So here the news, what is the news? That Tom instructed the crew. So here it is, noun clause. It is noun clause working as an opposition to this word, noun. This noun, news. What is the news? The news is that Tom instructed the crew. So news and Tom instructed the crew, both are the same thing. Okay. So that is why we have put this apposition after this noun, news. So the news that Tom instructed the crew is true. So the thing is that principal clause is the news is true. This is the principal clause. And that Tom instructed the crew, this is, noun clause starting with a conjunction called that. Okay. Hope you understand it well. So in my next video, we'll see that how can we add two or more than two simple sentences to make one complex sentence by using noun clause. And we'll do lots of exercises too. Till then, goodbye.